Well, hello everybody, welcome to your cruise today. I'm gonna be your skipper, Skipper Dallin. Right here I have my trusting steering wheel that I'll sometimes turn from time to time to get us turning in a different direction. Now, who here has never been on a jungle cruise before? Me too. So, just a quick gist of today's journey, we're going to be floating down the jungle rivers of the world while also discussing 10 Easter eggs you haven't yet noticed. New Easter eggs on the jungle cruise. Let's turn here. How about we start with some friendly neighborhood exposition? Exposition is important after all, and our first stop is exposing the Society of Explorers and Adventurers, Disney's secret society that they don't want you to know about. Actually, they really want you to know about. The first inklings of SEA appeared at Pleasure Island at Walt Disney World in the Adventurers Club. But the Adventurers Club wasn't truly part of SEA, it was sort of a precursor to it. The real SEA came about in Fortress Explorations at Tokyo Disneyland, at their new Disney park, Tokyo Disney Sea. See what I did there? Listen, there's gonna be a lot of puns, you guys are just gonna have to get used to it. We're all in this together. Literally. Fortress Explorations was Tokyo Disney Sea's answer to Tom Sawyer Island, an interactive place where children and parents could play around with physical sets and different set pieces inside this massive fortress that served as the headquarters for the Society of Explorers and Adventurers, a group of people who like to do what the name suggests, explore, adventure, and be a society. Over the years, the presence of the society grew from just being at Tokyo Disneyland to Hong Kong Disneyland to Disneyland Paris, and eventually here in the United States, in Walt Disney World and Disneyland, in the form most prominently of the Jungle Cruise. Members or associates of members of this society would travel the globe gathering treasures and talking to the native people of their land and getting more and more famous as they went. Sometimes members of the society would be really good people and help the world through their explorations like Albert Falls or Henry Mystic. Sometimes though they would use their status and powers for evil like the nefarious Harrison Hightower, owner of the Hightower Hotel in the American waterfront. His brother, or son, or relative, or something, fun fact, is actually Constance's last husband, George Hightower. You can see his tombstone in the stretching room, so it connects. In April of the year 1911, a member named Albert Falls founded the Jungle Navigation Company. Now, originally the purpose of the Jungle Navigation Company, or as I'm going to be calling it through the rest of the video, the JNC, was to transport passengers, messages, and cargo across the many rivers of adventure in the jungles of the wilds of the unexplored wilderness. One day, though, Albert Falls mysteriously disappeared in 1928 and left the JNC to his granddaughter, Alberta Falls. And in 1931, the JNC began operating jungle cruises, which is where we join the attraction today, a sort of tourist attraction where people go and tour the jungles of the world, hosted by the JNC. Sometimes these go right. Most of the time, though, they go horribly wrong. But you didn't hear that from me, okay? Let's just keep this between us two. 16? 32? There's a lot of you guys. Now we'll start with an easy one in the line while you're waiting for the attraction itself. As we'll talk about a little later in this list, you will find references to members of the society you encounter later on while you're on the actual boat, while you're waiting in line, but this one doesn't really have to do with sea, at least not yet. When you're in the upstairs part of the queue, keep a lookout on your left-hand side for a map on the wall. Now this may look like every other jungle map, but it's not. But it is actually a map. If you look closely, you'll see some areas from the Jungle Cruise feature film that you can see in the trailer and in the movie itself. It's the map that Dwayne Johnson and Emily Blunt used to get to the Tree of Life in the deepest part of the jungle. Sitting here, for some reason, in a Jungle Navigation Company depot in in Adventureland, confirming that yes, the Jungle Cruise movie and the attraction do take place within the same universe, and that is its own whole Pandora's box that we haven't opened yet. This movie takes place in the same universe as the Tropical Hideaway, which means the Enchanted Tiki Room is canon, which means the Haunted Mansion is canon, which means Indiana Jones is canon. This is in the same universe as the Indiana Jones movies. How did this map end up in the clutches of the JNC in Adventureland? I think we'll just have to watch the movie that's coming out, today. I guess it's out. So while Disney said they weren't adding any elements from the Jungle Cruise movie to the attraction itself, you can still find some in the queue line. No Dwayne Johnson animatronic though. Whether that's a good thing or a bad thing comes down to you. Maybe you wanted a Dwayne Johnson animatronic. Me, I think the map is good enough. I think Disney just likes putting movie references on the second story of any structure they build, because you can also find another reference in the central office area. Here you can find the costumes, or I guess in this case it would be the actual outfits that Frank and Lily, or Dwayne Johnson and Emily Blunt, wear in the film. The central office belongs to Alberta Falls, the operator and owner of the JNC, and I'm not quite sure that these are the screen-used costumes really used in the movie, or just recreations put out there for the public to see. My bet is going to be on the second one. Again though, why are there clothes at the JNC depot in Adventureland? Isn't there anywhere better they could store them? Who knows, maybe the post-credits scene for the movie is these characters walking into the Disneyland Q building, placing their costumes on a hook in the central office, and then leaving. You know, that would make sense. It would be a very underwhelming and confusing post-credit scene for anyone who either A, hasn't been to Disneyland, or B, hasn't seen those exact costumes at that spot in the new queue. Yes, only those on this boat will know, those intrepid few who've chosen to journey with me down the jungle rivers of the world. And anybody else who watches this video and sees the movie, or who figures it out for themselves, but I don't think we can fit much more people on here. We're kind of at our weight capacity already. Sorry. Staying in the queue, this one not related to the movie though, don't worry. If you look in the central office, the same as before, you will find a fez. You know those red hats that Shriners and Aladdin wear? Yeah, it's one of those, it's in the office, and it's embroidered with the name Albert. Now, there are two possibilities here. I'm leaning toward the latter. The office belongs to Alberta Falls, whose grandfather, Albert Falls, hence the name on the fez, was the original owner and creator of the JNC. That's option number one. Option two, though, connects the Jungle Cruise to another Disney attraction, this one in Hong Kong. And if you're familiar, Albert Falls is not the only person named Albert in the SEA storyline. There is one more. He's not exactly human though, he's a little tiny monkey, and companion of Lord Henry Mystic, the owner of Mystic Manor, and also a member of C. Now if you look at the picture of Albert Falls that Disney has provided to us, there is a stunning lack of a fez on this man's head, but if you look at a picture of Albert the monkey from Mystic Manor, interesting. He looks like he's wearing a fez to me. So does this fez belong to Alberta's grandfather who founded the JNC? That's plausible. Or could it belong to the only other character we've been introduced to so far, named Albert, who actually wears a fez? I'm gonna leave that one up to you, but I honestly think this one belongs to Albert the monkey, even if it is a little big. Skipper Kevin, though, if you see this, please go ahead and get back to me. I would really like to know whose fez this is, because I'm on Team Albert the monkey, but if it's Team Albert Falls, I will gladly admit it. But what do you think? Is this the work of a man, or the work of a monkey? A monkey that likes to cause a lot of havoc by opening enchanted music boxes and bringing entire houses to life. It was the monkey. This one is a fun reference to classic Disneyland that, again, you will find in the queue. 3 portraits of 3 very important characters to the Jungle Cruise storyline. In the office, you will find 3 hanging portraits. One of Albert Falls, one of Albert Falls Jr., or the second, Alberta's father, and then one of Alberta herself. Now these aren't paintings or drawings or anything, they are hand cut out silhouettes of these characters made on Main Street USA. Okay, maybe not on Main Street USA, although I think the odds of this being made at Disneyland are pretty good. These are the same types of silhouette portraits you can find on Main Street and have made of yourself or your dog or you and your loved one. It's amazing how fast these cast members cut out your silhouette and how accurate it is. I actually have one. Oh, here it is. Oh. My hair was so short back then. Back when I had access to basic plumbing and civilization as a whole. Just a fun reference to something that you can get done at Disneyland and Walt Disney World on Main Street USA, a classic piece of Disneyland history in the form of an Easter egg referring to different characters in the Jungle Cruise universe. Okay, we've waited long enough in the queue, okay? Let's go ahead and board our actual boat and get into the attraction itself. Because we are on number 7 right now, but there are so many more things we need to talk about, so many references and so many clues as to the future and past of the JNC and SEA. Lots of abbreviations in this episode. I'm sorry for that. But let's G-O to number S-I-X. While you're cruising down the jungle rivers of Africa, keep an eye out for the expedition that came before you. You'll find them run up a pole with a rhinoceros trying to get its point across to them. The members of this expedition are, from the bottom up, Skipper Felix, known throughout the JNC as the new guy, Dr. Leonard Moss, a botanist, Rosa Soto Dominguez, a renowned artist from Mexico, Dr. Kan Chunosuke, an entomologist from Japan, and Alberta Falls' cousin, Puffin Murphy, a birdwatcher. But if they're part of a Jungle Cruise expedition, where's their boat? Well, if you look a little bit downriver, you'll see it half submerged. Too soon, Disney. And you'll find that it's being ransacked, absolutely torn apart by chimpanzees, one of which is holding a map. A very important map that, if you look really closely, is a map of the Jungle Cruise at the Magic Kingdom in Orlando. And in the same scene, if you're riding in the Magic Kingdom in Orlando, is a map of Anaheim's Jungle Cruise at Disneyland. A very clever way to tie the experiences at both parks together. Now, are they different JNC outposts? I'm gonna say yes. I think both versions exist within the same universe in different locations. The Magic Kingdom one being maybe a little bit closer to civilization because the headquarters for the JNC, the Skipper Canteen, is located there. The Anaheim map even has the Cambodian temple on it, which is my personal favorite part of the Jungle Cruise ever. At either park. So now not only is the movie tied to the ride, which is tied to the Tiki Room and Pirates in the Haunted Mansion, both versions are now officially connected to each other. A cool way for the Jungle Cruise to pay homage to its sibling in Orlando, and for the Magic Kingdom attraction to pay homage to its big brother in Anaheim. If you keep an eye out throughout your Jungle Cruise expedition, you may spot supplies and items that belonged to this intrepid group. That is now stuck on a pole. You'll also find references to them in the queue, but we're done! We're done with that! We're on the boat now! We're trapped here together! Just you and me. Anyways, floating along the river, you may find some of Rosa's paints or Dr. Khan's insect. You'll also find one of the chimps on the sinking Jungle Cruise boat eating a man-eating plant, which may or may not be a reference to the man-eating plant from the Haunted Mansion that was never built. That's beside the point, though. But not them. They're definitely above the point. Further on down the river, you'll also find some monkeys that have gotten into Dr. Khan's insect box. One of these ransacking chimps will be holding a magnifying glass, studying a butterfly, the pose of which may seem a little familiar if you've ever been on Pirates of the Caribbean. The pirate, who is famously laying in bed underneath a reportedly real human skull, studying a map with a magnifying glass, is in the same position as the chimpanzee studying a butterfly through the same tool, I guess you could say. So while fun, it's not a direct reference to the story of Pirates of the Caribbean, just a fun little nod that isn't canonical in any way. Although all these rides do connect, so I wouldn't be surprised if maybe during one of his excursions this chimpanzee made his way to the Caribbean somehow, saw this dead pirate, and wanted to look just like him one day. Either that or it's a coincidence. Story-wise, probably. Easter egg-wise, absolutely not. Which is why this pirate primate makes it to number 5 on our list. Now remember when I was talking about that Harrison Hightower guy? Well, here's a whole lot more information about him. Oh, he really grinds my gears. And our boat is grinding against the bank here. Let me just go ahead and turn that wheel. I didn't forget about it. I committed to the bit. Harrison Hightower is the owner of the Hightower Hotel in the American waterfront, which is a land in Tokyo Disney Sea. And he is one of the less ethical members of the Society of Explorers and Adventurers. Well, or former members, I should say. You see, this guy stole a sacred idol from a tribe in Africa and brought it back home to the American waterfront to his hotel. The Hightower Hotel, of course, and after treating the idol horribly, the idol came to life and killed him on Halloween, which also happens to be the spookiest day of the year. Which is how the Hightower Hotel got its reputation as a haunted, spooky place and became the Tower of Terror. Now, what does this have to do with the Jungle Cruise? Well, if you're online and you have a keen eye, you may spot a certain crate bearing the name of one Harrison Hightower. But that's not all, my Jungle Cruise skippers. Well, actually, I'm the skipper here. You guys are just, you know, trapped. You may also find this crate of beekeeping supplies meant to be shipped to SEA Mystic Point chapter. Or this crate of books that was shipped from Mystic Point. And if you're familiar with Mystic Point, you are familiar also with Mystic Manor, Hong Kong Disneyland's version of, yes, it has made its way into this video as well, the Haunted Mansion. And also the real Haunted Mansion, which exists in this universe because George Hightower. We talked about this. We've covered all of this. Now, I was thinking of making this a special bonus Easter egg as part of number 4, but this does pertain to the Jungle Cruise. It's not exactly new, but it's there in the Skipper Canteen, which does tie into the Jungle Cruise. So I'm just gonna do this real quick. Cool. In the JNC Ltd Skipper Canteen, yes, that's the real name of the restaurant, you will find a SEA room. A very special and important room that you have to walk through to reach the restroom. Here you will find members' fezzes on display in a glass case, large maps of mythological creatures charted by SEA members, a display wall of butterfly specimens, and a painting of who else but Dr. Albert Falls. Now this room is sort of a library, and if you look at some of the books, you may find they were written by SEA members, or in this case, former SEA members, because these two are specifically written by Harrison Hightower, one of which is titled Mine, Treasures of the Animal Kingdom, and the other, Everest Expedition, Search for the Yeti. Now if you look at that face, that evil, beautiful face, you may spot a resemblance between Hightower and the Disney Imagineer, Joe Rohde. That's on purpose. And when you think of the projects helmed by Joe Rohde, Animal Kingdom and Expedition Everest, the titles of the books make more sense. Which is why, of course, the books were written by Harrison Hightower, the dude who looks just like him. And no, I'm not moving on with our list until we do acknowledge all of us together that yes, this does add Expedition Everest to the official SEA timeline. Everest Expeditions, Yetis, it's all there, it's all canon. Don't argue with me on this, even though it's just a nice, fun little nod like the chimpanzee holding the magnifying glass. This is still really serious business tying all of these rides together. We're here to have fun. Let's let loose, have some fun, be young, be chill. All right. What's your guys' favorite part of the Jungle Cruise? Me too. How about you? Me too. How about you? Me too. My favorite is actually the Cambodian temple at the Magic Kingdom's Jungle Cruise, which takes us to our next number on the list, right here. Now it's time to go back to the monkeys. We can never leave these monkeys alone. There's just so much crammed into this monkey scene that I have to talk about. Namely, this time is gonna be the boat that they're riding on. Oh, this boat? No. This is the Orinoco offhand. I'm talking, of course, about the legendary Mekong Maiden. Now, the Jungle Cruise opened in 1955 with the rest of Disneyland, and it was a bit more on the serious side, more so than it is today. But one thing that is carried through over all these years are the names of the boats. They are always a play on words between one of the famous jungle rivers of the world and then someone's name, usually a female name or title. You have ones like my personal favorite, the Congo Queen, the Amazon Belle, the Hondo Hattie, Kissimmee Kate or Kissimmee Kate, the Nile Princess, or the Yangtze Lotus. All of these are names for the boats that they use at Disneyland, but over the years they've retired a few of the names. One that was there on opening day but sadly no longer cruises the rivers of the jungle is the Mekong Maiden. Now, why did I put such heavy emphasis on the word cruises the rivers of the jungle? It's because the actual ride vehicle was decommissioned in 1997, before I was even around, but you can find it in the Jungle Cruise today, as of a couple weeks ago. Because if you look at the name of the boat that the chimpanzees have commandeered, there it is. She's back. And even though she's half submerged and kind of breaking apart, she's just as beautiful as the first time I saw her, which was a couple seconds ago. So that kind of makes sense. But if you're on the other side of the United States, don't worry, you also have a reference to a long-lost Jungle Cruise boat, one in the Skipper Canteen, through a book titled Remembering Quango Kate, and also in the actual attraction itself, the boat that the chimpanzees are on in Orlando is called the Quango Kate, a boat that was retired in 2000. Same sort of vibe, different coast, but these two boats get to live on forever, or until they change the ride again in another couple years, as a couple of boats who have absolutely gone ape. Okay. When the new Jungle Cruise opened officially on July 16th of 2021, people may have noticed that the famous Q-Bird, yeah, that's right, this old fella, this guy was missing from the rafters above you as you waited to get onto your boat, but worry not. The bird isn't missing, taken away, or undergoing repairs. You can actually find him now in his new home in the actual ride as it's wrapping up the very last scene you go past, Trader Sam's gift shop. Now, unfortunately, Trader Sam has gone on break, but don't worry guys, he'll be back in 15 minutes, but until then, he's left his trusty elephant friend, Ellie, and yes, of course, because why not? We haven't dealt with enough of them already. A bunch of monkeys to watch the shop until he gets back. And among all the local fauna who's decided to take over this gift shop, you will find perched on the roof of the structure, the old Q-Bird, the old friend who would introduce you to the jungle, the very first animatronic you would see sitting there guarding the merchandise. Good boy. So while this old bird may not be there to greet you as soon as you get in line, he is there to send you off now. Does he have a name? Does this guy have a name? If not, we're gonna call him Jeremy. That's Jeremy the bird, everybody. Pay your respects before you get off because who knows what will happen if you don't. Alright, I think we are all squared away there. We all begged for mercy from the punishing hand of Jeremy the Q-Bird. So the Trader Sam's gift shop itself is full of different curiosities, clothing items, and curios, all three starting with the letter C, that have been collected, that also starts with the letter C, from various cruise expeditions that have passed through the area over the years and days or weeks. I don't know how long this has been going on. This is actually my first day. Among all the items you can find in the gift shop, you will find hats belonging to different explorers, parasols, tikis, ovens, radios, and one very important crate full of what appears to be Christmas decorations. Now the real fans know what this is all about. Everybody, do you remember the Jingle Cruise? That's right, It's a Small World and the Haunted Mansion aren't the only attractions to have received holiday overlays. At one point in time, the Jungle Cruise did as well. You see, the Jingle Cruise was a new holiday overlay for the Jungle Cruise that put new holiday-themed puns and props amongst all the animals of the jungle. It started in 2013 and ran until 2017, and in 2018, Disney mysteriously decided to not do the overlay, much to everybody's disappointment. And they haven't decked the halls of the Jungle Cruise since. But there's a tiny little Easter egg referencing this lost overlay right there at the Trader Sam's gift shop. Will it ever return to the jungle rivers once again to delight us with the holiday-themed jokes about tinsel and tigers? Probably not. I think this box of decorations has sealed its fate, but a part of it does live on in the Jungle Cruise, which is something. But if you still want your Christmas fix in the jungle, don't worry, never to fear. The Magic Kingdom still does the Jingle Cruise every holiday season. It's a bit less intricate, may I say, than Disneyland's, but it's still a lot of fun, with most of the details being in the queue area and across from the loading area. I mean, just look at this guy's house. Does he even know what a Santa Claus is? Do I even know what a Santa Claus is? Now that, unfortunately everyone, brings us to the end of our cruise down the river. Now if I just check my map here. You know what, that doesn't matter. We're just gonna put this down. We're gonna end up being fine, guys. We're gonna find the outpost. It's gonna be alright. I think I'll just let the steering wheel take us where it wants to. It's probably smarter than I am. And would you look at that? We seem to have hit a rock, and now we are taking on water. Ladies and gentlemen, if you could just remain seated, please, and remain seated. Okay, they're standing up, I guess, then they're swimming away. And now it's just me, going down with the ship, the way a good captain should. This is the third time today that this has happened to me. I should really ask for a raise, and learn how to swim. Well, I'm running out of air. Hello, all. Thank you all, and I do mean this, truly. Thank you so much for watching this video. It's, if you haven't noticed, a lot longer than my usual videos. I put so much work and so much research into this video. I apologize if some of the photos or videos were grainy or a little blurry. There's not too many of them out there just yet because the refurb is just so new. And I actually wasn't able to get down to the Jungle Cruise myself to record and photograph all of these Easter eggs. They did soft open the day after I left though, so again, I mean it. I am really, really proud of this video, and thank you again so much from the bottom of my heart for watching. And the names you see scrolling off to the side there, those are my Patreon supporters, the lovely people who donate $1 or more each month to help keep the channel going. I have some really good friends and even some family who are part of this list, so if you want to become part of the esteemed Patreon group, head over to the link in the description down below, and like I said, even just $1, guys, it gets you access to 99% of the stuff. If you are interested in following me on Twitter, Instagram, or yes, even TikTok, I promise more are coming, my username there is just Offhand Disney. You can find me. I'll link it in the description down below, but it's just Offhand Disney. You search for me, you'll find me. And of course, I can't wrap this up without mentioning my podcast, Foolish Mortals, which I co-host with my friend Dan, and Dan co-hosts with me. Season 2 is in full swing, and I am currently editing episode 2, as you are watching this, probably, so be sure to stay on the lookout for that. It's going to be a lot of fun. And we've been very slowly but steadily growing, so thank you all so much for all of that support over there. Thank you for your support over here. Again, I can't thank you enough. Please hit the like button if you liked this video. Subscribe if you want more, maybe long-form videos like this, or more Jungle Cruise Easter eggs or top 10s or what have you. And I'll see you guys all in the next video. Goodbye.